All right, Shai Ben-Dor in the house. What's up, Shai?
Nothing much in the house here talking about the film we made together. How do you put it?
Oh, that's your baby.
Yeah, but it's your story. This is the back and forth we always do.
This is very true. Well, we should do a quick intro here because this will be published on our podcast. So for the audio listeners who can't see anything, my name is Kim Levinsky. I'm owner race director for Sasquatch Trail Running. And tonight we're doing a special live stream. Today is April 30th, 2025. And the title of this stream is called Behind the Film, conversation with Shai Ben-Dor and Kim Levinsky. So we are a couple days out from the world premiere of The Long Path, A Journey of Becoming documentary. It's Wednesday, and the film premieres on Saturday and Sunday in Hawthorne, New Jersey. And this has been a long time coming. So Shai and I were talking earlier this week, and we were saying it kind of be cool just to sit down and talk about all the feels and what's going through our brains, and also to give myself selfishly the opportunity to ask Shai questions because I've been in the hot seat for a while. So all that to say is, Shai, welcome to the Sasquatch live stream Squatchyverse here.
Squatchyverse. It's nice to be a member. I guess I've become a member of the Squatchyverse pretty quickly over the last 2 years. Or I
Absolutely.
mean, I think it happened in like one day and then a lot in 10 days, and then it's just been. I mean, you can't get rid of me. I can't get rid of you. Your friends have absorbed me in a pretty aggressive way, full of kindness and wonder. Um, but yeah, it's been a heck of a journey. I mean, where do we start? I mean, like, does it start like Game of Hundos? Does it start when I reached out? Like, when do you consider like this
Well,
journey?
I think the best starting point, even before that, is for you to give a little background on like who is Shai Ben-Dor, because there's definitely going to be people tuning in who don't know who you are, or maybe they've just landed on our socials or podcasts and don't know what the heck is going on. So maybe could you tell us who you are and a little bit about your story? Not like the 10 volume encyclopedia version, the condensed version of who is Shai Ben-Dor.
Oh yeah, I've a tendency to launch into things without first defining where the heck we're going.
Yes.
My name is Shai Ben-Dor. I am a filmmaker. Um, I think that's the easiest way to put it. I'm a cinematographer sometimes. I'm an editor other times, but ultimately, I'm just a fan of people doing cool things. I think the easiest way to describe what I do is movements in motion. I love communities that come together in movement, whether that's skateboarding, running, snowboarding. I think there's something really incredible about like the individual pursuit within community in shared movement. Um, and one of the things that attracted me to Kim and Sasquatch was just like it seemed like everyone was racing and everyone was winning. Like it didn't really matter what place you were coming into. Um, so yeah, that's definitely like kind of what my missions and like what drew me to like this squatchy world that I've become. I don't know. It's fun. If you're a weirdo, you totally belong here. You get it if you get
Yes. Well, look at this comment that just came in
it.
from Kool-Aid. One of us. One of
Classic.
us.
Is that spelled Kool Aid? That's
That's
interesting.
that's
No.
Kool-Aid. Kool-Aid right there. So we'll
Uh,
keep an eye on the comments here.
brilliant.
Um, But Shai, I think what I'm thinking in my mind for this evening is it would be cool to get. I mean, this is essentially, we talked about this is kind of serving selfishly for both of us as like the extended version of probably what the Q&A is going to be at the premiere, where we're not going to be thinking about time constraints tonight, where we can give kind of like extended answers to the questions that are likely going to be repeated this weekend. So I was thinking maybe we could do a little background on the film, how it came to be, and then we could do a little screen share and show the trailer, and then I don't know, we'll see where the evening takes us. So, um, I'll leave it open ended. Where do you want to start? Like, how did this film
Oh
how did it come into the universe?
I mean, I think it really just starts with like, I don't want to go like way back when I was a boy, but I grew up on one of the road sections of the long path. I think that's like a really important place to start for me because I was a cross country runner in high school, a normal distance runner, as you might call them. And on my road growing up, there were always these aquamarine blazes on the telephone pole. Like every third or fourth telephone pole had one on there. And like as far as I ever ran, like I never got to the end of them. And I just like didn't know what it was. Like I'd see them on the Heritage Trail, like I did a bunch of hiking, but I didn't know they were connected until I was working at a camping store in college, and I there was nobody in the store, and I would just look at maps and trace things, and source to see like nerds do with maps in their free time. And I followed this path I'd never seen before called the Long Path, and it was like going through some pretty familiar areas, and it was like, oh, that's my road. And I was like, oh my god, that must be like where it goes. Like that must be like what those like. It was almost like finding a treasure map that I had been on top of this whole time. Um, and then I think like kind of the magic of my life is so much of my early 20s was spent filming and like exploring the Catskills, and like my childhood was all about exploring Harriman and the Gunks. And then I lived in New York City for like 7 years. So it was like I had been on so many different portions of it throughout my life, um, that I'd been kind of yearning to tell a story about it. And then I guess this is where Kim comes in. Um, and I mean, do I get into Game of Hundos? You have to break check me when I'm getting super long winded because I can eyes will roll back in my head and I'll tell 7 stories. It'll take 3 hours.
It's good. I think the pause you just did is good. We'll pace ourselves like that.
Perfect.
I'm thinking about the moment I first discovered the long path as well. It was a little bit similar where I had just moved back to Jersey in 2016, and I'd ended up at the Palisades I was doing like a trail run. Or, you know what it was? I was going up to my college in Massachusetts, and on the way there, it was like a gorgeous day. I thought I'm going to stop and get a run in, and I had the experience too where I saw these blazes. I'm like, what is this? And I looked it up, and all of a sudden I googled the long path and saw the mileage that it goes like from there. I was at Fort Lee at the time, which used to be the southern terminus. Now it's across the bridge in New York City, but Google machine said, "Whoa, this trail goes 360 miles north," and my mind was blown, like it exploded. Yeah, this is in 2016, and um, I'd just become an ultra runner. I'd just done my first 50K, and but kind of similar when you first you discover those long distance trails. It's absolutely mind boggling. So okay, yeah, I think probably Game of Hundos is a good transition to kind of how we met because that was our first touch point there. I don't even remember the year. Was it 2020 or 21?
Was it 20? I think it was end of 2020. I'm trying to remember because like I remember restrictions being like high. That was something we were very concerned about surrounding filming.
Yes.
Um, but I think it was like end of 2020. I don't think anyone was even vaccinated yet. Anyway, different times. But Game of Hundos for Dan, who's in the chat, is a film that I wouldn't even say it's a title that came from a project of Michael Ortiz. Shout out if anyone who knows him is in the chat or if he's in the chat. Um, he did a project where he did 100 miler every weekend for 100 consecutive weeks. Um, and I was there to film. I filmed 3 of the last 10, culminating with his final one in New York City. And Kim was there, as Kim does, making something incredibly heartfelt with her wood machine. And we kind of like exchanged information, and I was like, oh, like she had been putting on races in like all these areas that I had been talking about before that I grew up around. I was like, oh, this is rad. Like there always should have been races here. Um, but I guess to circle back, yes, Game of Hundos is a film I made in 2021 with the Trail Running Film Festival. But that was the impetus of how Kim and I met, and then I mean, her online presence is so fun that like it was hard to ignore. Especially like I immediately got home and like followed her. But that was like, I mean, I didn't reach out till 2023. Yeah. Um,
Yeah, yeah. It was shortly after I had shared online that I was gonna attempt the long path FKT, and then I had a DM in my inbox from you.
yeah, that is how I did it. I wasn't like, I wouldn't say I was confident in the way I asked you. Um, I think it's really interesting. Like I think we both talk about how nervous we were, like in that moment,
Totally.
um, because I had kind of been like following your journey for a while, and I already thought like what you were doing was really cool, like all people, paces, and ages, like in like places that like meant so much to me. And then when you had kind of announced this project to do the long path, it was just like wow, it was like for some reason it felt like you were on a journey that like reflected what that trail meant to me in so many ways. Um, and you know, it was just a genuine attempt to do something big and cool. Um, but like it was like your kindness and what you were doing in your community that like made me want to reach out. Um, I'm I'm really good at like being loud and silly, but like hiding out. Like I'll just disappear and you won't know where I went. Like I'm kind of really good at slipping in and out. So like when I'm like asking to like take up space in someone's life that like I don't know, that's like the scariest thing in the world to me. So like I mean, I like it must have been like three sentences, but like I remember like looking at the message like, oh, that's huge. It's gonna like scare the crap out of her. Like she's gonna. You have it?
I was just gonna say, you want me to read it? I just scrolled
No
back.
way. I'm terrified. I like, oh, what did I write? And it's like,
We should,
dearest Miss Levinsky.
we're checking the archives here.
Oh my
I,
God, it
I can
blows some
read it.
dust off
It's
of
not
it.
as bad as you remember it.
Okay, it's probably way too formal though.
A little bit, but then I broke the ice with my response, which I know you remember what I said. So
Yeah.
this is February 23rd, 2023. I thought I had your number when we met at Michael's Game of Hundo's finale. Uh, but would you be open to the idea of me making a short film on your long path journey? I've been following along since then. I've been so impressed with your local achievements and the positive energy you bring to all your races. Obviously, this is a soft pitch, and I expect lots of questions. Let me know what you think. Happy to talk it through. Zero pressure to say yes. And my response was, would the title be Running is Dumb?
It was phenomenal. It wasn't, as you can see from the bottom of this video, but like I love there was a long period of time where like all the files, um, and that's my wonderful wife right there.
Yes, Michaela.
She was probably she's a journalist, so I put out one story every 2 years, and she puts out one every day. So she probably drop kicked me into sending that. Um, but it was hey, so many of those things like really hold true, and I stand by those statements, and I think like it's really interesting how like the driving forces like stay the same sometimes when you look back, and it's
Totally.
like really nice. I know you and I have this conversation a lot about like what it means to have community and like what that means. It's such an ambient term, but there's like this growth management, there's this touch of genuineness. I just to flip the questions on you for 1 second, like it's how do you like incorporate that like consciously into what you do? I think so many people like do some of it on accident, but like the care you put into your races like in like such a widespread way is very thought through. And I've always found that impressive.
Yeah, I think it always comes back to like when I'm thinking about whatever it is XYZ race production. Like I'm a runner first, so I always think about like what would make me comfortable at a race, or like what would make things easier. You know, for example, we have a rainy race. Let's put a private changing tent up for people to change because they're soaking wet. That happened this last weekend at Minnewaska. Um, trying to amp up our communication before the race, providing as much info as possible, just to make people feel comfortable. I think we at Sasquatch we attract so many new people. I think it's important to remember like what did it feel like when you were new. It's kind of crazy when you think about trail running. You're showing up to the woods with a couple hundred other people you don't know, and you're just going to trust that the markers are there, and hopefully there's some snacks on a table in the middle of the woods. It's kind of a wacky thing when you think about it. So yeah, I think it always comes back to like how can we make people feel welcome and safe and just a part of the squad.
That's right. I mean, it shows. I mean, it's funny because I showed up to one race and then we were like off to the races like from there. Um, so I guess like we meandered like how we got here and the message I sent. I guess how did you react to that message? Because I told you like how what I was fumbling with on my end.
Oh, totally. I think I've shared this with you. I went and ran like 17 miles after I got your message because I was full transparency. I was kind of freaked out. I mean, I knew an FKT in and of itself, whether it's an FKT or just an adventure in the woods, to that magnitude, it was going to be for sure highs and lows like anything else. But to have like a film crew there and potentially recording those really vulnerable moments, I totally freaked out. But then I remember talking to Robin about it, and she's like, "Why don't you just get on a call with Shai and like see who this dude is?" And I still remember it was within 10 minutes of the phone call. I was just like, "Wow, this is an incredible vision," and I just had immediate trust in how you were going to do the project and handle those moments with care. Like there was never any doubts in my mind after we had that first chat.
And that's such a funny thing, I think, when we're having this discussion on like mental health and everything, because like the immediate thoughts in my head are always just like it's like, man, she's crazy to trust me. Like me? That's wild. But I think that's like kind of like, we have sometimes more belief in each other. And like I know I had so much belief in like Kim. I guess just like one of the things in that conversation that stuck out to me, because like for both of us, I know we came into that conversation like a little bit like, all right, how is this gonna go?
Yeah, yeah.
um I met you for like 10 minutes. Is that the vibe?
Hmm.
Like you're great, you like vlog, you are a race director. Like I don't have much of a social presence, and if you're new to following along my films, like I pop out when I make films, and then I post photos of my dog and my wife, and nice pictures of outside occasionally. But it was like one of the anyway. What I was getting to is what you said to me in that phone conversation was like, oh well, I don't know why you would tell a story about me, and
Hmm.
I think that's like one of the most perfect responses for me when I'm like looking for stories, because that's like a genuine person. That meant to me immediately that like Kim wasn't doing what she was doing or you weren't doing what you were doing. I don't know. Am I talking to the audience, to
It's all
you,
good. It's all good.
all listeners at home?
All the people.
Uh, but like that you were doing it out of like a genuine love for your community, and I think that just kind of like solidified it. And it's like really funny. I mean, like think of like your immediate like thought of like what you thought a film crew would be, quote unquote, when you saw that text, and then now just like imagine Seamus and I standing next to each other, like next to the Prius. Like it's a comically like dissonant thing, and it's just like two skinny dudes, one big, one little, like shoved into a tiny car with a box for food, a box for camera gear, and like a couple of bags for clothes, and all of them ended up swirled in some sort of mixture. Like your RV like was a little worse for wear at the end too, but I think it's
Oh,
a
that
miracle that
Prius.
Prius made it. It's still, I will not say anything negative about Big Papa Prius.
I'll never forget when you came. I guess it was like the day before everything started on the long path. You and Seamus pulled up to my house in that Prius, and I was thinking, wait, is this the vehicle you're gonna like? You two are gonna live in this thing for however long this is gonna take.
I mean, in and out of. I
Mm,
Oh, that's a good stat that we didn't get for last time. I mean, I think we had, oh geez, I think it was two or three campsites, definitely 2 nights for sure in the car, two Airbnbs, one hotel, and then I think two friends' houses like
yeah.
along the way that
Hmm.
were like, because we didn't know where we were going to land each
Exactly.
night. Like it would change by like, I don't know. It's the interesting thing about the Catskills is if you were off by 8 miles, that could be like a 45 minute to an
Yeah.
hour plus drive
Totally.
wherever you were. And when it was only 6 hours of sleep, like an hour back and forth is like, that's, you're down. You just lost a third of your night
Totally.
to driving around literal nowhere.
Hmm.
Um, Yeah, no, that Prius was it's a, I love that car so much, but what a dumb choice. What a really, there's, we have to be careful with the Prius because like the RV, there's just like a wormhole of stories that
There is.
surround it.
It's
That just
it's
like,
very true.
it's its own microcosm of events that happen. Like I'll say it in like 10 seconds, but we almost hit a deer. We didn't, but there was such a mess in the back that literally, like, the top layer of the back of the Prius avalanched over the center console and like into our laps. Just whatever was on top just like rolled forward when we
Oh my
slammed on the
god,
brakes. Um, yeah, that was gross. Like
that's
it's not a
nice.
way to live. I would not suggest that. But for 10 days,
Uh huh.
um, it was an adventure for sure. You did not make it easy to follow you. You picked a tough route.
It was something else. Okay, wait. I want to go back. I want to go back, and we could sit here and tell goofy stories all night long.
That's true.
But I do want to ask some more film specific questions.
Go
I'm
ahead.
curious. I'm curious. I mean, we had some initial conversations about your vision for the film, but I'm wondering, like, from where you start. Like, say you have this book where the first page was way back before you reach out to me, and the last page is going to be when that DVD is put into the theater DVD player and play. I'm just curious, like, did the vision change from start to finish, or was there always like one kind of thread that stayed consistent on like what you wanted the film to be about? I'm curious about that.
I think there's a lot of different answers to that question. Um, I think it's just like no film, as best as you imagine it, is going to go the way you expect. There's so many things that I thought were like huge pieces of the story that just weren't. Some things fall by the wayside and then you discover so many new things. I think that's what's exciting about documentary filmmaking to me. Like, is it's just, it's life. And you you graciously as you can ask someone who you believe to be like a worthwhile person to follow. More particularly at a time when they're usually doing something. You know,
Mm.
um there's I'm always on I don't like the word the hunt, but like there's this magic sometimes when you find someone and you're following something that they're doing, and then that thing itself becomes like, we couldn't have written this if we tried, where it's just like life itself is such a story that
Mm,
if you could just position yourself at the right place in the right time. And like, I mean, for me, especially with like these ultra pursuits and these films I've done on folks in this community, it's just about like believing in them,
mm,
like just show being there. And like, I feel like I always come in with this guise that I'm going to be super professional and we're going to draw a line and I'm not going to like integrate. And like this group was like immediately I was like in there and helping, looking at maps, talking about, putting the camera down here and there. Ultimately, like, I think the subject matter that I went to tell the film about um, has actually been told in a way better than I had previously imagined.
mm.
Um, I know I like exalted Sasquatch for a second at the beginning there, but like it's a very, very small portion of the film, actually. Um, and I would say it's really funny because like as I'm half like an editor and half like a cinematographer. So sometimes I think really visually, and other times I like the story.
Yeah.
It's back and forth, but I had always like in my mind I was just like I was gonna personify your love and care, like through like the handmade wooden medals you make for all your Sasquatch races, and that was gonna lead us into your journey to the long path. My short film is not a short film anymore. It is a
Yeah.
long. It is 40 minutes at this point. When you have no one telling you how long. And this is Josh won't accept a shout out, but he helped story produce at certain portions and watched earlier cuts, and
Oh, right
he's
on. Yeah.
a kick butt documentary filmmaker as well, and a good buddy, friend of the pod, you could
All
say.
right, Josh. Welcome.
Um, but it's yeah. So I have a bunch of that stuff, but as you know, like it fell by the wayside. Like I think inevitably you spend enough time with a person and a film, like it tells you what it wants to be. And
Mm,
like we continued having conversations the whole way through that helped shape it. And I took it into the depths at certain points, and it only really became fully what it was when I learned the mental health lesson. It's like I need help from my friends. Like
yeah.
I brought it out, and it became like a more collaborative experience. Um, and like, I mean, that was magic. It exploded like another 15 minutes in like the last month and a half, but it made it such a more warm and large film. Um,
Can we talk about the collaborative process? I mean, there you now at this point have many people who are involved in the film, but I would love to hear some inside scoop on like what did that collaborative process look like for you and Seamus? Because I've had the privilege of seeing a little bit of that, and I have loved every second of what I've been able to see behind the scenes. Um, it's just been incredible. And before you answer that, I just want to say I've been so impressed. Like I don't know if I could do well. Certainly skill wise, I could not do what you guys are doing, but the collaborative process between you and Seamus, like you guys are brutally honest with each other, and like I saw the comments and stuff back and forth, and I mean Seamus is one of the funniest guys I know, and Michaela's going to confirm this with her comment. It's comedy gold, those two. But I was just so impressed. Like, you really have to like check your ego at the door. It seems like in these collaborative processes. But could you talk a little bit about um, bringing Seamus? Obviously, he was a part of the film crew. He was on site the entire time with the boom mic and many other tasks. But Can you talk a little bit about the collaborative process with the editing and putting the film all together with Seamus?
Yeah. I will. I'll define this two ways. I'll define this how Seamus probably defines himself in this process, and then how I view his support. Um, because I would not consider the way I made this film or the way I tend to make my ultra films with Seamus a standard process in any manner.
Okay.
Um, he has for those who don't know, Seamus Murphy is my producer on this project, and this is the second ultra running film he's helped me out on set and behind the scenes.
And
Even
Seamus is not an ultra runner.
no, Seamus was a lifelong talented soccer player.
Yes.
He ran cross country for a season in college. Um, Not by choice, but he did. I like. There's a long story. He'll tell you one day if you make it. Um, Come to the screening. Seamus will tell you about the time he ran cross country for sure. Um, but we'd been working together basically since we kind of like started in the city. And like we've just been through so many of the ups and downs of the New York film industry. Like we had like decent full-time jobs, got laid off together. We're like back in a van driving around the city the next week, like grabbing dollar slices. And we've just like as a professional, it's like I work as a freelancer. So it's like whatever the city has to offer between my clients and whatnot. Seamus operates as a producer. If you don't really know what that is, it's kind of like the money person orchestrates everything. Like I, as the maniac creative, is like, oh, I want X, Y, and Z, and it would be awesome if we had this. And he goes, that's crazy. You can get one of those. And like so often that's how it operates because I
Mhm.
want to do everything all the time, but I also like am anxious and can get overstimulated, which is absurd. Like he is like the yin to my yang in so many ways.
Yeah.
He's as steady as I am chaotic. He could be just as manic as me, and like even in this film, like at one point, I think we like came to blows for like I think an hour, and then we were cool the rest of the week. And like, there's times where like I'm in it 10 days after Kim. Like I eventually lose my shit, and I'm like, we're 2 hours from home. Let's go drive home and like sleep and take a night, and like I can see my wife and my dog, and then we can come back out. And he's just sitting in the driver's seat going, it's like, dog, you're gonna regret that. It's like not good.
Mm.
You're just gonna leave the aura and then you're gonna get comfy and you're not gonna come out and you're gonna miss it. And it's I think this is where it like swirls into like mental health, and it's like having those people that will tell you the tough things. And like
Yeah.
there's there's checking your ego. Um but then there's being willing to like see that your ego's in the way of the right decision.
Mm.
Um like there's two things happening when Seamus and I are like kind of going at it. One is like he's pointing out that something doesn't work for X, Y, and Z reasons, and I'm trying to figure it out. It's like, what do you mean? I thought this played off here, and it's like the difference between me knowing something and the audience not. Like starting a podcast and launching into the long path without starting with "Hi, my name is Shai."
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and you could do that in the editing process too, no matter how many times you're in it.
Right.
And then there's other times where it's just like, dude, that's dumb, and I think you're wrong, and I like don't
Mm.
want that in there. I see what you're saying, but it's stupid. And then there's this both. There's this seesaw effect, and then there's the like ridiculous nature of like technically I'm the director, and in the end, it's like if I'm comfy with something, like it's my thing to wear.
Yeah.
Um, so there is that piece of like Seamus will be the first one to tell you that he doesn't give a shit. Whatever.
Yeah.
Do it. Go for it. I don't care. Like you fight it out, and it's like at any point you go, no, it's like, whatever. You win. Screw it. And it's great. And he's like, for not being an ultra runner, like he's done. What did we? Kim, we were calculating it because I did 300s in Game of Hundos,
Yes.
and
Yes.
then he's done 358 miles of crewing on the long path. There's so
Hmm.
many stories about this dude. He's just not an ultra but he's ultra everything in these situations. Like he's just a good friend who had the time available, like when I needed someone, and he did it. Like he drove my sorry butt around, picked me up in the middle of nowhere without cell service, like helped manage the process after the fact. We're a very small team, and I by chaos alone, I think I wear a lot of the hats.
Mhm.
It's just kind of my nature to kind of think I can do it, and then I turn around, I've taken on a lot. But I've got some really good people that when I turn around, I go, I've taken on a lot, and they're like, we know, let us take some. Because it's like it's not, they can't take anything off my plate if I don't let them.
Mhm.
Which is the interesting game. So the game with Seamus has been learning over the years. Sometimes he's right.
Sometimes.
Sometimes I'll give him that.
Yeah, it's been cool, and I'll share too. I've so appreciated you guys have been so gracious towards me with letting me see some of the cuts and also being open to feedback, and that's just meant the world to me, and it's one of the countless reasons why it's just been amazing to work with you and to have that level of trust and comfort to be able to say like, oh, I really love this, or like, oh, I feel really uncomfortable with this, and but to be able to like talk it out, and that process has been uh, it's been so incredible, and I want to share, like, I've shared this with you, but I want to share publicly. Like I feel like this film has helped me process and learn even more about the experience already than I already knew. And I remember after seeing the first cut, this was probably February or so when I came to New Haven, and I cried my eyes out and I hugged your dog even though I'm not a dog person, and uh
Everybody's an Elfie person. You don't need to
Elfie,
be a dog person.
she was there for me, man. Um but yeah, I remember just like on the drive home thinking there were so many layers to the film that you put. It was like layer after layer after layer of things I had not, I didn't realize, I didn't make the connections until I saw the way that you put it together. I mean, I can't express the excitement I have for everybody to be able to see this thing in a couple of days. It's wild that it's finally here. It's been this big build, this big anticipation. So, um, how are you feeling right now, Shai? Like, couple days out, what is this like for you as filmmaker and the whole journey? The last almost like a year and a half, almost 2 years. Like, what's going through your mind right now?
It's like ambient screaming. Like it's probably the best way to describe it. It's so much. I think it's I think it's tough because I think what this trail means to me is wrapped up in this film as well. And I think like my mental health journey in so many ways is like wrapped up in some ways in this film. It's just it started personal and it became infinitely more personal throughout. But it's hard really to describe, like you can't see it, but like on the other side of the wall over there, it's like I have like I have two medals. I did a 50K with you and your homies up in Ithaca, and then I ran like a half marathon in your race. And like,
Yeah,
the past year I did the escarpment trail, and like all parts, that was part of the long path too. And it's so many of the things I had always wanted to do, I did like after we did the long path. Like it just kind of opened up. Um, The answer is I don't know. I'm really excited. I'm really nervous. It feels like a big secret that I've yet to share, even
yeah,
though it's like it's by all intents and purposes done. Like it's not going to change anymore. Um, it's I hope it means something to somebody. Because it means a lot to us. And we definitely worked hard on it. And I say we, I include Seamus, I include Kim. Like being vulnerable ain't easy. Like putting on a shirt. But Yeah, it's been a long process. The film's a love letter to the process of being human, and just the Hudson Valley, a place I like really love so much. And I think it's just underrepresented in like the outdoor world. Um, so like I'm really excited to show a whole bunch of people who know these trails, especially premiere weekend, like what,
Yeah.
like it's like, dude, they look just as cool as like out west. It's like if you're measuring like how cool something is by how big it is, then you're not actually listening to the story,
Mm,
or there isn't a story enough to put weight on. You know, just because it's big and it's cool isn't the thing. Like, I think there's a lot of times in this film you're gonna forget that, like, oh yeah, she's running like 358 miles. Like, I just kind of got into it with why it's important to be with my friends and how much they help me. And it's also something you can like drift into like your own experiences and things that you remember happening. At least that's the goal. You can hate it too, just don't tell me. Um,
what do you think it's going to be like for you in the theater on Saturday evening? Like, I'm curious, like, what's your plan? You've told me already, but like,
oh
where
yeah,
where are you going to sit? What's that going to be like?
I'm not gonna sit.
Not sitting,
I'm
not
not
sitting.
sitting. Are you kidding me? Maniac. I'm not gonna sit down while 200 people watch it for the first time.
Yeah, like, what is that experience like? Because you've had other films obviously show. But what do you think it's going to be like in a theater? Saturday we've sold out. There's going to be 240 people there. It's a real theater, like a huge screen, 100-year-old historic theater. What's
yeah,
that like for you as a filmmaker watching your artwork out on the big screen?
I think it's interesting. There's like different experiences depending on like what I've done in a film. You know, like I was at a film premiere of a film I was a cinematographer on for 2 years, but I wasn't part of the editing experience. So there was this kind of like, it was really cool because I had never seen the film, so I got to watch it almost as a viewer because I didn't know. I knew everything that had happened, but we shot for like a year and a half. The film was called Remaining Native, and it's bouncing around, doing cool things. Um, but uh, that was really neat because I could just watch it. But as like a director and an editor, like I'm the last one to touch it. Like it's
Mm,
like that's me. That's like the
yeah.
final thing. Um, I think I describe it when I'm getting close to the very, very end of a film. I don't even think I'm enjoying it anymore.
Mm,
Like I'm looking for just things to be wrong. It feels like I'm walking on a tightrope, like one step at a time, 1 minute at a time. Like every single cut I'm watching, I'm listening for any blip or something out of the ordinary. Like, um, it's obsessive. Like the filmmaking process for those of us that like take 2, 3, 4 years to like make a movie, and like it's like editing is just like sitting and thinking and finessing and sitting thinking, and it's so it's like, but at the same time there's also this like magic. Like it's
yeah.
like that's what movies are for. That's like how they capture you. That's that community essence of like just being in a room. Like it's strange because I've never been a big movie theater person. I've always had too much fidgety energy, but I think 40 minutes is the perfect length. Come on out for buy more tickets on Sunday. We have
Yeah.
seats available. Um, but it's this release of like I'm like really speaking to the older generation here, but because like I'm right on the edge of us like the last kids to have like uh, uh 35 millimeter film cameras
Mm,
in high school, and like just to watch the developed piece of paper just kind of like grow and
mm,
like turn into a photo print. I think there's like kind of that same magic with like a projector like
yeah.
on the wall, and like we're all looking at the same thing. There's this finality and grandeur to it. That's going to be incredible, especially with like some of the drone footage of some of these areas.
Oh man, I can't.
Um,
I can't even imagine it on the big screen.
yeah, it's gonna be great. It's all the things, What do you? How are you feeling? I mean, it's your face. It's like you don't see me. No, there's no. I don't know why I thought there might be a shot of me in there.
We
Maybe
can hear
maybe
you a couple times,
you
right?
do hear me a couple of times. That's one of those things that like Seamus and I talk endlessly about. And it's
Yeah.
like every time it came up for like 2 months in the cut, it's like, do we? Don't we? Is this too long? Is that too long? Um, but yeah, I will be fidgeting in the back of the theater as to not distract anybody's view. Um,
Yes. I'm glad those I think it's like once or twice you can hear your voice in there and I'm glad. I mean, I think the first time I'm like acknowledging you and then I'm apologizing like, "Oh, you're supposed to be invisible, but you're a part of the team." I think honestly that was really one of my favorite parts. I mean, there's so many favorite parts, but like the experience of having you and Seamus, I won't even say you started out as strangers because I think we went into, by the time the long path rolled around, we had, we got to know each other a little bit and we're friendly. But man, by the end of it, you were checked into the squad and like very much a part of the crew in every sense of the word. I mean, you guys, especially in the Catskills. Oh my God. Like the intel that you brought to the crew with your knowledge of the Catskills was priceless. I mean, that we
Kinda.
yes,
No,
absolutely.
well, okay. There's like one. I have this particular memory because my Catskill map was like it's a very like silly sun thing, but like I pretty sure I got my dad a Catskills map, but ended up using it way more than him.
Yeah.
Um, it was so dated by the time we went to the long map path that I was like using it for direction and like Ryan was like, "Oh, that's a trail now." I was like, "Oh, is it new?" He's like, "No, it's been there for 3 years."
Oh boy.
So I had like, there was a moment where I had to like switch maps in there. So like my intel wasn't always 100%. But I don't think I messed up anything too bad. It was more the
No.
weather that
Well,
torched it all.
we couldn't control that, but
We tried, had some
yeah,
fun dancing.
I think it's so cool how, and I'll try not to give stuff away with the movie, but you guys really made the weather like its own character in a way of the film. Like, I'm curious how was that process? I mean, you two obviously experienced the weather. Was that difficult to do with like bringing a non-person entity, like making that a character? Curious about that.
Yeah, I had an ultimate like absence of it. In so much, I like did not capture enough of the other destruction we received because I was like on the receiving end of it. Like we were just so
Trying to
vulnerable
survive.
to the elements so often. Like I have this umbrella attachment to my rig that I wear. So it kept the camera dry when I was at the RV. But like what a useless place for an ultra marathon film. And I can't wear this rig in the woods. I can't keep up with you. Like I'm gonna run into 7 trees. So like if it was pissing outside, like I would have to tuck the camera in the bag. And there were these weird moments where it was like raining and then not raining and then like like I like would throw the camera in the bag and then I would take out this cell phone footage in the film here and there. Just because like is what we like, sometimes the best camera is the one you have on you. Um and and it was ultimately like the Harriman destruction we just didn't get because there was also like the blip of like I wasn't allowed in Harriman. Like it was like only you and Maddie, and like I think you snuck some of the crew through, and also like you were so torched at that point. That was like one of 2 times where. So it was like this weird kind of thing. This is like what happens. Like you have 100 hours of footage, and you have like
Literally 100 hours.
not literally 100 hours, but the gist of it is like it's like I had almost nothing for one of the most important places in
Yeah.
the film. So there was like this dance of like every once in a like you can have everything in the world, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh darn, I need to invent something to tell this portion of the story because it's not that it didn't happen. It's
Mm.
like just as valuable, but you have to get like sort of creative. And then sometimes Seamus is such a good storyteller. He's like, "Oh, I want X here," and I'm like, "I don't have X." Well, he's like, "We'll make X," and I'm like, "What do you mean make X?" And then we do. We make X, and ultimately it fills the gap in the story. And um, but like, I mean, like Kim defeated us. Like Kim defeated everybody. And I won't get off this call without telling the story, but like Kim had like a different pacer every single day of the long path. And Seamus and I's running joke is that she would take them out and she would assassinate them.
Oh
Because
my
every day Kim would take out a new pacer. I think it was day 3 onward. She had a pacer per day, just about, and like they would come back clobbered at the end of the, like she was doing anywhere between, I think 36 was the low end and 45 was the high end, anywhere from like 7 to 9k vert in these days. And she would take out these holly jolly fresh pacers in the morning, and Kim would look like death. And like 16 hours would go by, and the pacers would come back and go like, dude, that was crazy. Like I think I have like 3 or 4 people saying like, yeah, her kill rate, yeah, because it's like, what was it? You would go out on the trail and we say the, and then would come back, and so it was day 7 into 8 that Seamus and I went to take a nap, and we just didn't wake up. Not that we like died, but like we just like couldn't get like we needed one night to sleep.
Was this
And
the Heritage Trail?
yeah, you ran clean through the county. Like you had like your biggest mileage day while we took like our first nap in like 3 days. It's just like you kill, and then we woke up and we are like, "That's it. We've been assassinated. Like she got us." Like it's like we worked so hard to not get got, and you got us. Which
Well,
is
hold on.
fine.
While you're on that moment of time, you need to tell the story of Seamus in the middle of the night with you guys when you realized you needed to continue sleeping.
Oh well, I had gotten up to my alarm just barely, and Seamus like rolled over to his phone as if it was his, or rolled over and poked his alarm. He rolled over and poked his water bottle as if it was his cell phone alarm for snooze, and then he rolled back over. And when I looked at him, I was just like, "Oh, we've been assassinated. It's time to like take a break. Like we just can't." Um,
You were toast. That was I told you guys this the other day. I was on a podcast interview with Inside the Line Catskills, and Stosh, the host, asked the question, did Shy and Seamus get tired while they were out there? I was like, yes.
no,
Yes, they did.
no, I've never been tired. Um, no, 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 no.
Yes. Yes.
That would just so many, talk about like missing footage. Like it was hard enough to train the camera on you. Um, Whatever we have of us is like harebrained. There's something special of like, uh, I think I'm just gonna let that one live for a blooper clip. I'm gonna let that story be a visual. But yeah, it's I mean, I don't really want to be. The stories that take the effort are really worth it. The things that other people aren't gonna go get. Um, I don't even really consider this. I think this is a film that contains ultra marathon running, but I don't know if it's an ultra marathon running film per se.
Yeah, it is. I've said this to you now probably 6 times, but I don't think I've seen a trail running film like this. It's so unique in that, like what you just said, like there's running in it, but in so many ways it's like it is about the FKT, but it's not really about the FKT. And it's so, I mean, it sounds cheesy for me to say this because I was there and I was in it, but like you really captured what it was like out there in a very raw way, but also a very beautiful and layered way. It's just I don't know. I people, you need to see it in order to understand what I'm saying, but it's unlike any film, any trail running film that I've seen.
I think it's okay.
Period.
I made it. I think it's nice. I don't really know. Yeah, I mean, this whole call is to aggrandize the film in very many ways, and I think it's just easier for me to kind of like put you on a pedestal and like push forward your story than it is to say like my movie, this thing that I made. Because it's just like I'm so lucky to get to like join along with incredible people. Like it's like every story I get to tell is just like I just this gift into someone's life. You
Mm,
know? Like what I do is so sensitive, you know? To be able to film someone doing anything. You know? I think like film and like video has like there's like a little bit of gloss that's lost because every one of us has like a phone in our pocket.
yeah.
um, but I think it's about how we value what we're actually filming and like the people we're
Mm.
with. Like photo and video is like incredible. Oh wow. Someone disagrees with that in the background.
Wild
Uh,
picnic gallery over here.
but yeah, it's rad. It's rad to be able to share things, and I think when you take a long time to really like chew on it and digest it, like the simplest things are sometimes the hardest to say.
Yeah.
Um, and I think the hardest part about this film for me was like looking for the least cliche way to kind of get to some very cliche topics, if
Yeah.
that makes sense. Because mental health is like, and when you boil it down, it's like very simple pieces. Like it's okay to not be okay, and it's okay to get help. You know,
Mhm.
um, and it's like you're not always going to need all that help. It's there if you need it, and like it's complicated to pull apart the pieces. And I think it's I don't know. I think I'm still working out. What does the long path mean to you? I mean, like, let's put it this way. What's this the long path film mean to you? I think the trail is an entirely different thing, but what does this film and the film portion of this journey mean to you, and being
Mm.
able to share it?
Wow, that's a great question. You know what's flashing into my mind right now? So when I first started therapy, the therapist I was working with was trying to do this thing called IFS, internal family systems. It's like a type of treatment.
Mhm.
And I just really could not. I didn't get it. It was cringe. The idea is you're kind of speaking to your younger self. And in some ways this film is almost like that when I watch it. It's it's healing in that way, like again, it's hard to describe. Like it's a very odd experience to watch yourself on a screen. You know what I mean? Like it's one thing for like an Instagram video and you're watching a playback, but to see like an actual documentary about, sharing some pretty personal things, it's been a really interesting experience. In a lot of ways, it's almost been like healing to hear those things. So like for me, the film, I'm so looking forward to like other people seeing it because I know that it's going to make a really big impact on them. And we've talked about this so much. Like, I just so appreciate that you made the film. All the messages in the film are so accessible to people. Like, you packaged it in a way that's like, I feel like there's kind of chapters to the film. Like, as you go on, it's kind of chunked up, but also incredibly cohesive. It's not, separated in that way, but like, it's very digestible in a way where like you start the film with a lot of questions, and then as the film goes on, I just think people are going to walk out of the theater. I hope they do. They walk out of the theater just with the assurance that like, okay, maybe the way I've been feeling is I'm not alone, like I'm not alone in the way that I feel. Like if I'm struggling, I'm
Mm.
not alone in that, and that also there's community out there. And I hope that for people, because you'll hear in the movie, like I didn't have great community for a long time, and that was something that I've found in the last, I don't know, 8-10 years or so. And to have that now is so special. So I think that's another big hope, is like just for people who maybe they're in a similar space where they don't have community, to just be able to see like the power of community when you do get plugged in, and in that same vein, like that help is accessible, um, and that it can really change your life if you're willing to take that step. So I just appreciate so much the way that you put this film together, and that you're providing this story and these answers, but also these like very actionable steps for people to take if they do need help. So that's my very long answer to that question. I mean, I want to throw it. You can share thoughts, but then after that, I want to throw the question back to you and your thoughts on that.
I say the same thing as Delilah, actually. But yeah, I guess in so many ways, it's like the way I hope that the film would be designed is that to personify that mental health journey that you and I have talked about. We have discussed a lot of the mirroring portions of our mental health journeys, and also where they differ. I think it's very like it's really valuable to like see your journey in other people, but also understand like where your personal experience starts and where your own healing starts. But in terms of this film, I think it's like, to me, the long path is just life.
Mm,
Just like simplify it as that much. Like you can go through the loops of this film as long as you're in existence. Like sometimes we start at the beginning where we're just kind of feeling alone and we're not connected to anybody. And then as like we start to warm up and let a few people in, we realize like it's not that bad. Maybe we can let some more people in, and you realize it's not the world that's bad. There's just kind of stuff going on inside that paints it all a different color. And as you start
yeah,
to unpack that, like you become a little bit more open and conscious just to the fact that you're on the long path and that it is, in fact, a long path. And you're going to relearn some of the same lessons that you've learned before. And ultimately you're gonna do it, but you're not gonna make it anywhere. And it's really dumb and silly and like cliche in so many ways, but like sometimes you have to have like this typewriter effect where you kind of like run into the wall and then you reset. Um,
mhm,
and like how conscious you are of how you're doing is basically how hard you're gonna hit that wall. I was having this discussion the other day with a friend. I I've lived my whole life with like severe anxiety. I won't get into how severe and how panic attacks affect me, but like depression has also been a part of it. I have another creative friend who I lament with about the realities of life, and there's just a portion of like pushing yourself to a certain manner that
mm,
you're just going to end up hitting the problems that you're going to have. Like
yeah,
if you're going to go 110%, like you're going to hit a negative portion that you don't like about yourself, probably because you're not regulating yourself in a way that's manageable. And so to use that as an escape is false.
yeah,
But you can relearn that. Like you can make the same mistake twice. Maybe it sticks better the second time. I know I've made the same mistakes tons of times. People ask me how I had someone once ask me how I got good at camping, and it was a really funny question because it's like I like had a lot of really, really, really bad times camping.
yeah,
And boy, does that teach you how to camp good. But like maybe you don't have to like suffer so much if you just ask for help and a little guidance like up front. There's a lot of metaphors in this
so
tucked
many,
in.
yeah,
Um, and you can even make your own. But I think that's kind of the gist of what I feel is it's just like it's funny because it's a linear story solely because of your long path journey. But
Mm,
I think like any one of us could be at any portion of that journey,
yeah.
in terms of the acknowledgement of what our long path is, what that the ups and downs of our own lives are, and how they affect us down the trail. Boom, new
Mm.
metaphor.
Oh,
Um,
there it is.
put it on a t-shirt, squatch it up, sell it at a race.
Put it in the squat shop.
Put it in a squat shop. Put it on the no more. Oh, whatever. Put it on some wood slate. You've been grinding logos into all sorts of things these days.
Love that, Shai. Um, do you think we should play the trailer and then start to wrap it up? I think it'd be cool
Yeah.
to show folks if they haven't seen it already.
Yeah. If you haven't seen the trailer yet, you should watch the trailer with us. Starting now, I'm gonna press the.
Alright, I'm going over your
Yes.
checklist. Did you
Yes.
brush your teeth?
Yes.
Did you eat your breakfast smoothie?
Yes.
Did you take your antidepressant?
Yes.
Your KT taped under your sports bra?
Yes. Good.
Lube?
Got it.
Okay. That's your.
That was
that's-
awesome. That's so good. The long path starts in Albany and then traverses down 358 miles to New York City. Got a hand on the side? There's no woman who's done it point to point in one continuous push. It's telling me I'm off course already. There are markers on the trees, but there's no established trail.
Where is the trail at? I see it.
It's right there. This was not a normal summer rainstorm that came through. I just was not prepared for the pain level that came from having wet, waterlogged feet. 300 miles to go. That's paralyzing.
How you feeling?
I got garbage. But it's fine. I don't think I really even recognized depression for what it was. To me, therapy's scarier than running 100. Did not die. You're getting help with your ultra, you've got a crew, you've got pacers. Why should it be any different with your mental health? You can accomplish things with the support of a community that are impossible to do by yourself. Ooh, Shai.
Yeah, that's the thing.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
You did the thing.
Well, that one actually, that trailer was actually cut by a great partner of mine, Ben Stillerman. He did a bunch of editing early on in the movie, put a lot of the pieces together. Super talented dude. I will not take credit for that editing job, but I did film those clips. Those
You
were
did.
me. I did do that. But yeah, Kim, how do you wanna wrap this out? It's been a
I
cool little
know.
combo. It's actually been really helpful.
It's been very helpful.
Just imagining the crowd. No one's in their underpants, but everyone's dressed very squatchy.
Yes.
I know I'm gonna be.
Flannels.
Oh, I'm gonna be squatched. About all sorts of squatched up. Does that sound dirty? It shouldn't be. But
What parting words? What parting words do you have with the people? How about for those maybe those who are tuning in who are coming to the premiere? What do you want to say to those folks?
oh man. I want to say thank you. Just like thank you for joining us on the opening night. I'm sure I'll say that. If you can't make it out, we're going to do our best to get it to as many people as possible. Try and do some real impact throughout. So I would just say, like, come ready to listen, come ready to learn, and hopefully, spread the message like wildfire. Like, it's just, mental health is health. It's part of our day-to-day lives. It's as important as our blood pressure, our weight, aches and pains. Like, you can't feel it in that way, but it affects just as much everything part of you. So yeah, I think that's the message. Those in attendance will hear me ramble ad nauseum, I believe, another day.
That's right. Well, we'll finish with this comment from Michaela. I want a medal made by Kim that says I went to therapy today. We can arrange that, Michaela. We can do that.
Woo! See Saturday Kool-Aid.
Delayed.
Oh man,
Yes,
she's gonna tackle me. I gotta be careful.
she is. Well, Shai, thank you so much. This was awesome. Selfishly, I really, really, really enjoyed it, getting to have a little extended combo with you, but sharing it with everybody else. So thanks everyone who is tuning in live or listening to our replay on the podcast here. And we're stoked to see you all if you're coming out on Saturday or Sunday. We do have another screening already scheduled for May 15th at the Denville Sneaker Factory. That's a free event. You can register on SasquatchTrailRunning.com. And then we've got a few other screenings in the works. So keep an eye on the website and our socials and all that. And Shai, you've got now the Long Path.
The Long Path
That's
Film
film.
at the Long Path Film.
At the Long
Uh,
Path Film.
so follow on Instagram. I don't know if I have the Facebook page. I should get the Facebook page, but we have the Instagram. The Instagram page is shared along with all of Kim's stuff, all of my socials. S Ben-Dor 1. I always want to put like at Gmail at the end, but that's not right. It's just at in front. Instagram's backwards. But yeah, like and follow. It's been going for a long time, but it only really begins when we start showing people. So we're excited to get this journey to the road.
It's happening.
Woo! Saturday,
All
here
right.
we come, full speed ahead.
Awesome. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. And for those of you we're going to see this weekend, we can't wait. The rest of y'all, keep it square.